Sorry, say it again when the mics can hear you.
I said, you look good.
You're going to have to
do something.
Oh, don't start something you won't finish. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show. We're really happy that you're here. Today, we're going to talk about a timely topic.
Oof.
That is timely because it's today. Now, in hindsight, we probably could have done this last week so that people would have had some time to meditate on it, think on it. But
here
we're
we
going to
are,
do it
day
tonight
of.
because that's how we roll. Yeah. So, we've got that going for us.
Everybody's going to be just fine with it.
Which is great. Today we're going to talk about Halloween because, well, it is Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bunch of things that we could get into with this. And I'm going to try to be a little polite off the top, maybe. But not really. I say this every show. It doesn't, it never happens.
Goes.
All right. As a born-again Christian, I do not understand at all why anyone celebrates Halloween. I question trunk or treat things. Like we had a Harvest Fest thing the other night at church, which I don't question because it's literally just like a seasonal gathering.
Yes, it is a seasonal gathering.
Nobody dresses up.
Nope.
There's no superheroes or any other ridiculousness. We don't do any of that stuff anymore.
No.
Now, there was a time when we did I'm trying to think what we called
Hallelujah night.
Hallelujah night. Yes. That kind of came out of the Gospel Bill show type stuff, Willie George's ministry stuff. Which I recognize the churches.
Yep.
Just collectively.
We did it as an alternative.
Yeah, to create an alternative event for families in the church and for them to, kids in the church to bring their friends out to an event where they can have some fun, do some stuff, get some candy. I don't really see a huge issue with that. I do take issue with simulating going door to door,
right?
With trunk or treat events. And again, if that upsets you, I don't care. Send me something and we can talk about it.
The opinions on this podcast are our own.
Well, they are.
Yeah,
they're definitely
they're
mine.
our own.
Shoot, I own everything I ever say. But I don't, for the life of me, I can't get behind, I can't understand why we try to create a Christianized version of
an evil holiday.
Of an evil holiday. Of a holiday surrounded and literally like based on fear and
death. And
scariness,
darkness,
and evil things. You look at, like I'm a big movie fan, right? And I hate the week of October because AMC plays nothing but horror movies, and I just don't. And again, if that's your thing, more power to you. Don't really care. But I can't get behind it. I do not like it. I don't like any of those movies.
Oh, I've never liked it.
And they're not cool. But I want to come back to kind of the hard issue of why are you so often as parents, why are so many Christian parents trying to find ways to justify what they're doing with their kids? And why are they going out of their way to recreate an evil event in their church?
I don't even know if it's recreate an evil event.
You start talking to people who are trunk or treating, which is a huge Christian event thing.
Yeah, okay.
I saw a church that I have friends at posted this week that they did a trunk or treat event, and all of their social media was going through and like taking photos of all the best designed trunks and who had the best trunk. And the little kids are dressed up and they're going door to door or trunk to trunk with their things, which if you're going to do that, why don't you just go door to door in your neighborhood?
Right.
It's way less work and you probably get way more candy.
Mm-hmm.
Which was always the thing with some of the kids that I grew up with in our church of why they never wanted to come to our Hallelujah Night thing was because they wanted the ability to go out to their neighborhood and get a boatload of candy.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the candy volume is where it once was. I have no idea.
Don't know.
The thing that I came back to when we started looking at it and thinking about it and trying to figure out what we were going to talk about. And there are a lot of resources out there. Again, one of the best ones we ever had was from, I think it was Willie George's ministry on the origins of the pagan holiday that has become Halloween. Right. And literally the pagan worship of it.
Right.
That delved into this. But the verse that always comes to mind for me with this one is 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
And like the second part of this is great, but the first part is the key, right? God has not given us a spirit of fear.
Correct.
So if God has not given us a spirit of fear, why are we as Christian parents promoting and encouraging our kids who probably deal with fear themselves throughout the year?
100%.
Why would we as parents, Christian parents, go to an event or participate in an event that is literally based on fear?
I don't have an answer.
I didn't expect you would.
No. Well,
it's just one of those things that I look at it and I get the fun aspect. I get the not wanting your kids to, feel left out.
I don't.
No.
But yeah, okay,
I can
fair
recognize
enough.
that.
Right.
When the entire school is celebrating and your kid doesn't. That is tough. But we're called to not have a spirit of fear.
Mm-hmm.
We're called to be set apart.
Yes, we are.
We're called to be different.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
To be a visible example of Christ.
Yep.
All of these things. And then you look at literally the biggest day of the year that's built on death and scariness and darkness. And that's the day that you put your foot down and go, we better have a trunk or treat at church or my kids aren't coming. Like, it boggles my mind and I don't understand it.
Well, the thing that I get to, and I guess this is kind of as a parent.
Kind of as a parent?
Well, as a parent.
I was positive we were parents.
We are definitely parents.
One of them is listening to us right now.
Yes, she is.
The other two are sleeping. Well, one's sleeping, the other one's reading.
Yep. The biggest thing that I come to as a parent is I want to protect our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, the argument is, oh, it's just cute. Why don't you just dress them up, get some candy? It's cute. Okay. And
it is. Kids dressed up as little things are adorable.
Kids dressed up is adorable. Our kids can dress up. Let's just say our little guy, we were given a butterfly outfit for our daughter. Yeah. She grew out of it. And now our son likes to be a butterfly. He doesn't need October 31st to dress up. He enjoys it. It's been a while, but I mean, there were days
I think he's outgrown it.
Yes. Well, it was an 18-month and he was in it as of like 2 months ago. So, yeah. Anyway, but so we want the kids to be cute. Let's just be practical here for a second. And again, I don't knock what other people do. That's not it at all.
I do.
Just bear with me. We have some neighbors.
We never do. We wouldn't.
We have some neighbors, and So a couple of doors down, I don't even like driving down our street this time of year.
All through the neighborhood.
All through the neighborhood.
There's someone a couple streets over who has their entire front yard and backyard set up as a fright walk. And again, if this is what if this is what you love to do,
yes,
they're not Christians. I doubt. So yes, who cares?
But what I'm saying, well, and then there's the dead person lying on the. Don't
point. They might listen to the show.
Well, then they can call me. They've got like a front bench, and there's just a dead zombie with like somebody trying to murder it on it. But so my thing is that whole excuse, oh, well, it's just cute. Your kids grow up. There's nothing cute about the holiday anymore. We walk around and everything is ghosts and goblins and zombies and skeletons and all things frightening. And there is literally nothing. I mean, we've got dead hand skeletons coming out from our neighbors over there and the fright walk around the corner and...
Again, with the pointing. But even like you walk into Home Depot.
Yes.
Right. And now ours has already transitioned to Christmas, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But October 1st, you walk into Home Depot and I love Home Depot. I'm there all the time.
Our kids love Home Depot.
But there's a 20-foot skeleton that's doing the whoa ha 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 as you walk in the door.
Yeah.
And again, I have some friends that are not Christians.
That love it.
Their favorite holiday is Halloween. And that's perfectly fine. Tim Burton made some amazing movies that kind of revolve around this. It's cool.
Yeah.
Right? But what I come back to is it's one thing if you're an adult. It's another thing if you're a Christian adult who loves this stuff. And again, whatever, you do you.
I think the biggest thing, one of the biggest things, is it can be very confusing to children as we're trying to raise children.
I was getting there.
Well, I'm going there.
Okay.
But as we raise children up and we're trying to, we're supposed to be the light of the world.
Yeah.
The light of Jesus is supposed to shine through us, and light is not supposed to mix with darkness. And if we are truly trying to raise our children up as Christian parents to be the light of the world, and we are raising them up to be more Christ-like, and we are raising them up in the ways of the Lord, and we are raising them up so that they live according to the scriptures, then why do we want light to mix with darkness when we know scripturally and biblically that light has no ground playing with darkness?
So let me ask you a question. Can you be a witness during Halloween?
So
can you because I've heard this many times, right? I've heard about Christian families who, their church doesn't host anything, so they don't necessarily send their kids out, but they still do candy and they pass stuff out, and when people come to the door, they tell them that Jesus loves them. I've heard of people that hand out tracts.
Yes, and I understand all that. Sure. I mean, obviously we don't.
No.
You have 364 other days of the year to witness.
Mm-hmm.
But
you also don't have people coming to your door.
Right.
Like, that is I'm almost, and again, we don't do this. I question whether that is better than doing a mock Halloween with like trunk or treating or whatever the heck you're doing. And again, I'm making a distinction between trunk or treating. I'm using that as an example of mimicking the holiday.
Right.
Right. Versus doing some sort of harvesty event going on. Right. There is a difference there. The mimicking of the worldly event to try and keep your church family coming is one thing.
But also, it's one of those things. Sorry, I just thought about this while you're talking, but we're not supposed to be like the world to attract the world. We're supposed to be set apart. So Jesus Christ sat with sinners, but he did not conform and become a sinner.
It's the same, to me, it's the same failed argument or false argument of, well, I'm going to go play my guitar in the bar.
To reach the world. Yeah,
reach the world, but I'm gonna sing a Switchfoot song, right? Or some crossover Christian song, to try and easing
I'm good.
out. No, yeah, okay.
I'm good.
That was her hitting my microphone. To me, it's kind of the same vein of not, I'm going to go and witness to people outside the bar or whatever, but it's I'm going to go kind of blend in and trust that subliminally I'm going to reach people and I'm going to be out there and make that happen. I would almost argue that you're a better witness by opening your door up, handing out some candy, and trying to tell people about Jesus than mimicking the event,
the world
at your church. And again, if you have thoughts on this, I would love to hear them. But I find that to be a little bit just ridiculous.
Well, we're called, all right, and this is the one of the scriptures that I had written down when thinking about this that I also actually plan to go through with our kids tomorrow. Because I think this is one of the important things. I don't ever want it to be, we don't celebrate Halloween, right? Without any reasons why.
Yeah.
So we are very open and talk about these things with our children. And tomorrow, one of the things that I planned, some of these scriptures that I looked up, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about them tomorrow and have an open discussion as part of our Bible time tomorrow during school. But 1 Thessalonians 5:22, very simple. Abstain from every form of evil.
So you're saying I shouldn't dress up like it? Is that it? I don't know. The weird, scary clown with the red balloon?
Oh, no. I don't know what that is, but I know what it is.
Some people will.
But if we're called to abstain from every form of evil, so not even just abstain from all evil, but every form of evil, and Halloween is, especially these days, is a...
It wasn't as aggressive as it is now. I have clients, and they've asked me to help a couple of times, and I've been able to kind of weasel my way out of helping. But they pull in, same thing. They pull in like a haunted event at their house.
Right.
Like with medical equipment from their office, just covered in all the things that you would think of.
Right.
And one year, when our kids were younger, they kind of did oh, you should bring the kids by. Our neighborhood's great. There's tons of candy. And I looked at her and I went, you know me.
Right.
What makes you think I'm coming here? And she kind of did but think of all the candy the kids could get. Like, you realize that tomorrow, November 1st,
we can go.
I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy a boatload of candy.
And the candy we want.
Because it's cheaper.
But we can choose the candy we want.
But I'm like, so in your mind, because I could get some candy, I should bring them to something that most likely will give them nightmares.
Yeah.
And I will have to deal with it. And I realize that not every kid is in that realm.
Right.
But in the case of our kids, it would, and it will.
Oh, yes.
And we're not putting up with that. So again, we're going to avoid the appearance of evil.
I don't want to get to a point where they experience this to a level that they become comfortable being afraid, or that things that are fearful are appealing.
Yeah.
And I don't want that side of evil to grow within my kids for it to be acceptable and normal in their life.
There comes a point where, and I've known lots of kids that enjoy being scared, right? They like scary movies. They like The Thing, right?
Yeah, but I think you almost have to grow into it.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Their parents like scary things.
Mm-hmm.
They like to be scared. I don't think there's a single kid that grows up wanting to be scared. Because every kid goes through, I'm scared of the dark.
Yes.
Every kid, no matter how.
That noise in the middle of the night, they don't like it.
Our youngest came out the other day and was talking about being scared of monsters. And I was like, where did you pick this up? Because it wasn't in our house.
Mm-mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was one goofy little show that they had watched where everything else was fine. And it was so innocent in the way that they portrayed the ghost. But all of a sudden, our youngest is going around talking about how he's scared of ghosts.
Yes, a sheet fell on a dog.
Yes.
And it took them a second before they figured it was a dog.
Again, it's innocence, but it sets them down something and puts them in a direction that we don't want them to go.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, you do you with your kids, right? Yeah. We're not here to tell you how to raise your kids. Hopefully this will make you question.
Yeah, I was going to say,
how
if
you're
on
making
the fence,
decisions,
or if you're not sure, or if you haven't really thought about it before and you've just thought about that, innocent, I'm dressing up and getting candy. We need to recognize and realize that it's so much more than dressing up in candy. And we need to not just take, you can't take one small element of it without taking the entire portion of it.
Yeah.
And
you can't separate it.
No, because it is in totality a celebratory holiday that celebrates evil and darkness and all things literally that go against Jesus, if he's the light of the world. There's no place in the Bible that specifically says you cannot celebrate Halloween.
No.
But if you go through, just simply put, and there's more, I just wrote down 10 scriptures quickly. If you were of the world will love its own, yet because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. We're not of this world. You were once darkness, but now you are light in the world. Walk as children of light and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. So that's in Ephesians 5. So if we are like the light of the world and we're supposed to walk as children of light and our children are supposed to walk as children of light, that we're to have no fellowship with darkness, that's pretty clear to me that Halloween is an event or a holiday that celebrates darkness, and it literally says that we are to have no fellowship with it. It says that Jesus is the light of the world, and he who follows me shall not walk in darkness.
A friend of mine posted something today, and it was encouraging.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, okay.
And it's a guy that I've done some work with. He goes to another church in town, and I know he's active in his church, but you never know, right?
Right.
How active people are and what their views are. But he posted something today that literally said, my family, myself and my family, we will not be participating in Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the verse that for me
As
and my
household,
we will serve the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Halloween is that simple, right? And again, if you want to do it, go for it. I don't care what you do. But I question how you can say that you serve God and then go and actively participate in the most accessible night of darkness. Like we're recording this on Devil's Night. Like that's what they call it. It's not Hallows Eve.
Right.
Although it is sometimes referred to as that, it is better known as Devil's Night.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't get it. So we just wanted to encourage you, as we always try to make it encouraging in the last minute of the show, to look at what you're doing when it comes to today, when you're hearing this, when it comes to Halloween.
Yep.
Look at how what's driving your decision to participate in whatever level you may be participating in today.
Right.
Right. Whether our kids were in Christian school, private school, public school, homeschool, Montessori, it wouldn't matter what school they're in. They would not be participating in any manner in today.
Now,
even if it meant that we had to pull them out.
So just a quick thing, like obviously our kids are homeschooled. My daughter's in dance, just as a quick little love her dance studio. Amazing. Love her teacher. Incredible. But leading up to Halloween, Halloween's like their thing because the dance studio, they love costumes and this, that, and the other thing. And so it was going to be a whole Halloween themed dance class. And, we talked about it.
And nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. We talked about it. But, and we even sat down and talked about it with our daughter. And I had a conversation with her. And obviously we raised them as straight and narrow as we can, right? Because we really are trying to train them. But we also want to have open discussions with them. It's not just a you can't and no, but it's a let's talk about this through why and why not. But anyway, she was perfectly comfortable. It didn't even have to be our decision. It was able to become her decision that she was not comfortable going to dance class because it was going to be a Halloween themed dance class. And she loves dance. She was literally practicing with her brother before bedtime. But
if you give your kids, if you're raising them well and raising them biblically, if you give them the opportunity, they will likely come to the same decision that you want them to, right? If you've raised them well, and again, I think you can guide them there a little bit too.
Absolutely,
if you want.
Absolutely.
But, the bottom line is you have to make that decision of whether you're choosing light or choosing darkness. And
it's
today is the really, really easy day to look at stuff and go, I wonder which one we're choosing.
I set before you life and death. Choose life.
Yeah. So on that lovely note, we're going to end. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on the socials under the Matt and Fiona Show and definitely on YouTube.
Right.
Under the Matt and Fiona Show and on your favorite podcast platform. But please subscribe, give us a follow, connect with us. We want to do a Q&A episode at some point in the near future. So send in some questions and we'll happily try to answer them for you. But other than that, we look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of the Matt and Fiona Show.
See you there.